Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is your performance management tutor Sir Uzair Awan, and this is the continuation of CVP, cost volume profit analysis. This is the video in which we'll be covering the profit to volume chart, okay, the PV chart. And in the previous two videos we have discussed the contribution chart, okay, and we discussed the break even charts, and now we are going to discuss the profit to volume chart. And the question that we'll be taking as an example is the same question that we use for contribution chart and the break even chart, okay. Just to make things easier, we'll be using the same question. So profit to volume chart is not like the break even chart and the contribution chart. It's very much different, okay. So that is exactly what we'll be looking at. Now in a profit to volume chart, obviously you will have your y-axis first. And one additional thing that we do in a profit to volume chart is that you extend your y-axis downwards, which means in the negative direction also, right? So that means we have a positive y-axis also, and we have a negative y-axis also, okay. Let me first quickly correct this. Okay, so you can see that now we have a negative y-axis also, okay. Now before moving any further, just make sure that if you haven't subscribed this channel, make sure to subscribe it, because that's the only way to support me. So first of all, subscribe this channel, like this video, and then please continue watching this. So now we have our x-axis and y-axis ready, right? Remember that in the profit volume chart you also extend your y-axis towards the negative sign, which means downwards, okay, but only for the y-axis. You don't need to do that for the x-axis, okay. And now x-axis, it starts from 0, and the highest value of the x-axis is going to be your budgeted sales unit that is given to you in the question is 10,000, right? Pretty much the same like we discussed in our break-even chart and contribution chart, right? So your y-axis represents the revenue, your x-axis represents the unit, just like we studied in contribution chart and break-even chart, okay. So the x-axis and y-axis are same from all three of them, but just that in profit to volume chart you extend the y-axis a little downwards, okay. So 0 units, and the maximum would be 10,000 units, same in the break even chart and contribution chart, okay. And the revenue, the maximum revenue would be again the same, that you take your maximum budgeted sales, which is 10,000, and you times it by the selling price, which is 20. So that's going to give you your maximum budgeted sales, which is going to be 200,000, right? So I'm going to write over here 200,000, okay, $200,000 maximum revenue. And remember that I told you guys in the previous lecture while we were studying the contribution chart and break-even chart that you just make your maximum points, and then from 0 to this maximum point you can just allocate the scale in whatever way you like, right? So from 0 to 10,000 I'm going to write 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, and 8,000, okay. But you can also write 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. That's the thing I'm saying, that you can allocate the scale in whatever way you like, okay. But the maximum units would always be the budgeted sale units, which are 10,000, okay. And the maximum revenue would always be the budgeted units times the selling price, which is 200,000, okay. And now between this 0 and 200,000, again you can allocate the scale in whatever way you like, but the way that I've been doing this from the previous two graphs is 400,000, 800,000, okay. Then you will have your 120,000, okay, and then 160,000, all right, and then 200,000, okay. And now in a profit volume chart you are going to extend this towards the negative side also, right? So that is going to be negative 400,000, okay, negative 800,000, we have negative 120,000, okay, then negative 160,000, and you have negative 200,000, okay. So you just extended it downwards towards the y-axis also, okay. Now how would you draw the profit to volume? Now remember that the first point would be at 0 units. Now if you have 0 units, do you think you are going to make any kind of profit? Obviously not. You're not going to make any kind of profit, but what you will make is a loss. Why? Because no matter if you sell 0 units, the fixed cost will always be there. The fixed cost would always be there, right? No matter you make 0 units, the fixed cost would always be there. So fixed cost will have to be paid regardless of how many units you sell, 0 or 100, right? It does not matter. So that means my first point is going to be at 300,000, which would be somewhere over here, right? So I'm going to make my point over here negative 300,000 because it's a loss, because I'm not making any profit, rather I am incurring a fixed cost at 0 units. Okay, so this is my first point. Clear? Now my second point would be at profit. And as far as profit is concerned, obviously first of all you will have to calculate the profit. So let's calculate the profit at 10,000 units. So selling price, as you know, is $20 per unit, right? You are going to subtract all the variable costs, $8 of material, right? $4 of variable overhead, $3 of labor, right? And that is it. That is going to give you your contribution, not your profit, your contribution, right? So if I subtract all these variable costs from my selling price, 20 minus 8 minus 4 minus 3, that gives me $5 of contribution. Okay, and I'm going to subtract my fixed costs from the contribution, so I'm going to get my profit, right? So first of all, let's calculate the total contribution. This is contribution per unit, right? I'm going to times it by the 10,000 units, so that's going to be 50,000 contribution, correct? Minus the 30,000 fixed costs, so I will have a profit of how much? 20,000. At 10,000 units, I'll incur a profit of 20,000. Is that clear? Okay. Again, selling price minus all the variable costs, that gives you your contribution. You times it by the unit, so you get total contribution. Total contribution subtracted by the fixed cost, you'll get your profit. So at 10,000 units, I'll be making a profit of 20,000. Now you know that this is 40,000. This is a profit of 40,000, so 20,000 would be somewhere over here. Just a rough estimate. Remember that I keep on saying this again and again in all of my videos, that these charts that I'm drawing right now, this is just to explain to you guys how they are drawn, right? These are rough. Obviously in the real exam you will not draw it, so this will all be tested from you in the CBE exam in form of MCQs, in form of OTQs, right? And you can only solve them if you understand the entire logic behind how they are drawn. Okay, it's going to be much more easier for you to remember if you understand how they are drawn, rather than just trying to rectify it. Okay, so anyway, so we are going to incur a loss. This is our first point. At 0 units we incur a loss of 30,000. That's our fixed cost, 30,000, right? Negative 30,000. And at 10,000 units we are going to make a profit of 10,000. So these are the 2 points that we made, and now all you have to do is to connect these 2 points, right? All you have to do is to connect these 2 points like this. There you go. Clear? And this is how our profit to volume chart is drawn. Now just few additional thing. Remember that the point at which your line cuts the x-axis, look over here, right? The point where your line cuts your x-axis, that is your break even point. Okay, and the area above the break even point, this one is your profit. Okay, and the area below the break even point, this one is your loss. So if in the MCQs they ask you the area about the profit or loss, or they ask you that okay, this is the profit volume chart in front of you, tell us which area would be the profit one. So you know that this is the area that represents the profit, and this area is what represents the loss. Pretty much the same like we discussed in our previous 2 charts, right? So this is all you need to know for the profit volume chart. Is that clear? So with that, guys, all the 3 charts are completed. We discussed the first one, break even, in our 3rd or 4th video, I guess, and then in the 5th one we discussed contribution chart, and in this one now we are discussing the profit volume chart. And now all the 3 charts are completed. Now there is much more to this chapter, but we'll continue that in the next video, right? And the only thing I need from you guys is that if these videos are helpful for you, and if you want me to make more videos like these for the other chapters as well, please make sure to subscribe the channel, like this video, and comment in the comment section if you have any problem. Okay, till then, take care, have a great day, goodbye.